In this video demonstration, I'm going to show you how to use the brand new Majestic holly frame from the John Next Door 2022 Christmas collection to make a card like this. So I love this hanging holly. I think it's just beautiful. So we're going to make a card like this. I'm going to take you through the die. So you get a large, this is a 6x6 die. So this will cut directly into the 6x6 scene box from John Next Door or card blank. And it gives you a really big, beautiful frame. It's also been matched exactly with the Regal holly frame. So if you have the Regal holly frame, they've been designed so that they will nest together with the same pattern, just shrunk down. So it worked beautifully well together. You get that die, then you get a new sort of star insert die to cut that out. The circle, the wreath, and an extra little holly in the centre. So you can make lots of different patterns and build lots of different pieces together with this. But to start with, we're going to use the large holly frame. So I've simply cut a piece of white, coconut white essential card from Crafts 2 down to 7x7. And I'm going to place this into the middle. Tape it into the middle because that's where the waist's going to be. I'm going to run that through my die cutting machine. Now, this is a complex die, so you can put it at an angle, but the best way is it will possibly need running through twice. So I'm going to go this way and run that through. So the die's been run through going this way, and as you can see, all of these sections are cut, but here and here it's missed slightly. So I'm just going to rotate it. It was that way. I'm going to rotate it by sort of 45 degrees and run it through a second time. So the die's been run through a second time. You can see now all of the sections are cut, and we will just leave this beautiful holly floating. So just be careful. It's relatively delicate when you're removing it from the die. So I'm just going to take out the centre. There we go. Sometimes I find pushing down the card against the die releases it. You don't want to tear any of these little delicate pieces. So we'll take that away. We'll simply pop out the middle. There we go. And you can see there we have this beautiful hanging frame. So I'm simply going to take the little pieces out. You'll find a few of the little connectors, white one just popping through, and we've got a beautiful white holly frame. This looks beautiful cut in mirror card, satin card, works in all sorts of special effect cards. So there is our white frame, and what I've done is cut exactly the same into a green piece. This is using the apple green from the Craft Artist range. We just want to slightly offset it. So I'm going to add a bit of foam tape around it to give some distance. So simply add one layer of foam tape. I'm using 2mm foam tape around all four edges. Evenly, and take a little bit more time than I do when I'm doing the videos. I'm terrible really at doing it too quickly. So I'm going to reveal my foam tape, but I want to offset this and I need to get this in the right place. So if I go down with the foam tape as it stands at the moment, it could just grab straight away. So take your wet glue and just add a few little blobs of wet glue. This will give you a little bit of wriggle room, but also break the static electricity, meaning it doesn't grab straight down. So all we're going to do is just offset ever so slightly. There we go. Once I'm happy, we get that put down, and that gives you that beautiful little offset pattern. So the reason we made the green larger was so that we could trim it down. So we would trim that down and you would just undercut this. So you would use simply a pair of scissors tilted at an angle so that the blades slip beneath the top plate. This is all going to have a frame on it, so you don't have to be exact at this point, but again, you might not want to put a frame on. You might want this to be your top. So just undercutting, tilting the blades, and that way they don't cut the top, they slip underneath. So we take our waste away. So now we want to put a piece to show that beautiful colour. So we take another piece of white card. So I've got another piece of the coconut white, and I would trim this down to 7 by 7. So we'll just trim this down. I always think I've got every piece prepared for the videos, and then I don't have. So we just pop that on. And we want to take this aperture out of the centre. So we simply take the next die in the set, which fits in exactly. We pop that down, tape it down, and we would cut that piece out. We would then, once that's cut out, simply put foam tape on and attach that to the back, which I've already got done here. So as you can see now, I've got that beautiful aperture in the centre and that stunning frame. So I've got another piece of the coconut white card, and here I've just embossed the back using this Snowfall 3D embossing folder. And a little bit of foam tape, and foam tape just to support these pieces, because you've got quite a lot of gap there, so you just want a little bit of support. And we're just simply going to pop that onto the top. So now we've got that beautiful white on white with that little hint of green popping through. And then using the die in the centre, which is the little wreath, I've cut this out, and I've cut this once in the apple green and once in the white. And I'm simply going to add these into the centre using a little bit of Pinflair glue gel, so a little bit of a silicone glue gel, just to give it a little bit of 3D. So pop some onto each place. So I'm just gluing this in 4 places. And I'm going to put this on into the 4 cardinal corners. I'm going to do exactly the same with the white. So a little bit of glue gel onto the back. You could just use spray glue or a standard glue. You could cut more of these and stack them up to give you more depth, which is what I did with the original. And this time we're just going to pop that on. There we go. So we've got that beautiful white just appearing, and a little bit of green in between. So I've made a frame using the press cut, stitch dot and plain squares. And I've just made a little frame to go over this, because this would be a mantelpiece pleaser. So we'll take our foam tape off, and I'm just simply going to frame that. And by framing it by using green, then white, then green, it looks as if the holly is literally floating. And to finish off, I'm going to use some of the new Craft Artist Dewdrops. These beautiful glass beads with the little sort of, they've got like a little air dot in there, so it just looks so real. So I'm simply going to add a little bit of glue onto the circles and the holly going around, just like that. And we're simply going to put some onto 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8 of the wreath in the middle. And these will just, they don't sparkle, but these will sort of reflect light and catch the light and just add that little bit of sort of peaceful Christmas look to it. Absolutely love these. So I'm just using the standard Craft Artist Super Tacky glue. This will dry completely clear, so you will simply see the white underneath. And and we'll just pop these onto each of the points on our wreath in the center. I'm being a little bit careful because obviously the glue gel isn't completely dry yet, so you could wait until it's dry. So great to do in a sort of production line. I do tend to add the gems and things within a couple of hours later or the next day, to be fair. So just pop those in place. There we go. And there we go. In the right place. But a beautiful sort of 3D card, but made in very, very simple colours onto a card blank, and it's ready and done.